Peace everyone, Unmask Art here, and welcome to another pastel tutorial. Real quick, going through the supplies. So the soft pastels that I'm going to be using is the 72 set of the Faber Castell, and also I will be incorporating some of the Carbothello. I'm using the 60 set here. Probably won't be using all of the pencils, but a majority of them most likely. And that's pretty much it for supplies. I also have a little lid here that I'm going to use to make a circle. And let's start off by sketching out the drawing. So hit record. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my bubble where that's going to be. So I'm going to place it about here, about a third of the way here and about a third of the way here. And I'm using the background color. If I was drawing on the inside, I would use the bubble color, but since I'm drawing the line on the outside, I use the color that's going to show up in the background. So I'm just going to put a nice little circle here. My green Carbothello pencil. Just like that. Now I have a nice circle for reference. And I'm going to sketch out my little bunny now, and I'm going to use gray because the bunny is white, but there's a lot of gray that shows up in it. Let me see, I think I might have a lighter gray. Yeah, I'm going to use a lighter gray. So I'm going to just sketch out the bunny here. There's not a whole lot of detail going on as far as the sketch of the bunny itself, so I'm just going to kind of pencil it in a little bit and go from there. And you can, play around with the proportions of your bunny depending on, how cute you want it. And I'm just doing basic shapes, really, to keep this sketch simple. So you can see that it's barely even the shape of a bunny right now. But you can see where the top of the head is right here. A lot of the detail is going to come in later with the bunny as far as the texture of the fur and all that. So you don't have to go really, really detailed. The pastels are super forgiving, so you can draw outside of the size of your bunny quite a bit, and it won't make that much of a difference. Hello Vignac, Wendy, thanks for coming by. Yes, I started the live stream a bit early. When I get set up, I don't like to just sit here and wait for the clock to count down. It's kind of nerve-wracking, so I tend to start a few minutes early, so I apologize for that. But the live stream will be saved, so you can always go back and watch anything that you may have missed. Alright, now I'm just going to kind of mark off where some of the bunny's facial features are so that I don't lose it. So its mouth kind of comes like this, and a little bit like that. And its chin kind of cuts in right there, and this may be out a bit too far, so I'm just going to curl that in just like that. Nothing major. And then a real important placement is the eye. So if you follow the nose right over, the bottom part of the eye is right here, and it's right in the middle from here to here. So it's like right here, nice and big, nice big eye. And you can worry about the shape of the eye later on when we start to color the bunny. But for now, I'm just going to kind of give it a subtle shape, nothing too concrete. And there we go. So there's our bunny sketched out. And then we're going to work on the background. Now the background is going to be fairly difficult because it's going to be kind of a bouquet circle background, and we have to work around these shapes. But it shouldn't be too difficult. Let me see. Hello, Alex. I'm glad to see you in the live stream. Tracy, Israel. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. All right, so I'm going to grab I'm going to grab this color here and start working on the background. Now the grass kind of comes in right here, so I'm going to just mark off. I'm going to mark off a little bit below where I want the background and a little bit where the grass is going to overgrow, and it's just going to help when I put those layers on top of each other. It's just going to help those come together nicely. Now I'm going to trace around everything that I drew so far. So just trace around my bunny a little bit. And when I do this, I'm actually going to cut into my shapes a little bit. So I don't want to work on the outside edge, I want to work on the inside edge of what I drew, because the bunny is going to be laying over top of the background. So if I come in with this green a little bit further than I want, that's perfectly fine, because when I start coloring the bunny a bit more precisely, I'll lay it over top of that green, and then I won't have to worry about the green later. So that's just one thing to do. So make everything a bit smaller than what you sketched it. Work on that inside edge instead of the outside edge. Don't be afraid to cover up some of your sketched lines there, because there's a lot of potential to correct anything later on in the drawing, but it's really, really hard to kind of sneak back in with the background colors once you finish the background. So we're just going to work around these colors a little bit. We're gonna one thing I also forgot to mention is that the paper that I'm working on right now is the UArt 800 sanded paper. So just in case you're curious, sometimes I work on the Pastelmat, the Clairefontaine Pastelmat, which I thoroughly enjoy, but I didn't have any pieces cut, so I decided to work on the UArt paper. The UArt paper is one of my favorite papers as well. I think one of the downsides of the UArt paper is that it tends to curl a little bit. After you finish your piece, it tends to curl up around the edges. Not sure why, but it tends to do that a little bit. But as far as the application, I kind of prefer it for detailed stuff opposed to the Clairefontaine Pastelmat. I like the Pastelmat for kind of the softer look and the less precise details, because I feel like when you do these light layers on the UArt paper, you get a lot of room to layer details over top, much more so than the Clairefontaine Pastelmat. Alright, so now I'm just going to use this green to color in the background. I really like this green, it's very pretty. I apologize if I haven't, if I missed something in the comments. Trying to focus on the tutorial, not so much on the comments. But let me see if I missed anything. Alright, that's pretty well done. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some of this and start coloring in some of the darker areas of my background. So I have some darker area here around the bubble. And I'm just going to kind of block in the colors a little bit before I start focusing on the circled bouquet shapes. So I'm just going to try to get some of this color in, and then I'll blend it out. I apologize if the scraping of the Pastel is a bit loud in the microphone, but this paper is a bit more abrasive than the Clairefontaine Pastelmat, so it tends to make a little bit more noise. But it's definitely a good paper to work with. If you haven't tried it with pastels, I certainly recommend it. It could end up being your favorite. All right, so we got a little bit of shadow in there. I'm going to grab a bit darker green, add some richer dark greens in the back there. Not too much though. And then I'll go with a bit of a darker brown, a darker shade of brown to get some of those values in there. Let's see, I'll use this brown here. Yeah, that's good. Now, one of the things that you want to be cautious of when doing the backgrounds is leaving the background oversaturated. Now, if I was to just leave these colors as vibrant as they are, it'd end up taking focus away from my bunny and my bubble when I color them. So in order to desaturate some of these colors, I'm going to add some gray right over top of it. Just going to grab this medium gray. I think might be a good color. I'm just going to add some of that in over top of these colors here, just to soften up the value or the vibrancy of the color. That way it's not too bright. When I blend it out, it will help tone it down a little bit so that it won't overpower the main subjects of this piece. Getting a whole lot of dust. All right, I'm going to grab a lighter gray, and I'm going to do some lighter gray in these brighter areas here. Just like that. And I'm putting in a few of the circles, but I'm going to blend that out so it's not really important. And I'm going to grab white. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab this kind of ivory color because I don't quite want to go to white just yet. I want to see what I can get with this ivory color first. So I'm going to start putting in some circular shapes. Just kind of all over the place. They don't have to be perfect circles. It's more important about the way that you blend it out rather than drawing perfect circles for this bokeh effect. Hello, Chrissy. Good day to you too. Hildy, good to see you here. That's an interesting question, Wendy. I'm surprised that you feel like I don't plan it out as much with pastels. Now there are some there have been obvious cases in which I didn't plan out very well or very thoroughly with the pastels, especially the last pastel piece that I did. I do tend to be a bit spontaneous with the pastels, and that's just because with pastels it's such a forgiving medium. I can make mistakes with pastels and correct them, very similar to the way that I can with acrylic paint, but you can't do that with colored pencils. So when I work with colored pencils, I tend to be very precise and very planned out, methodical, and it's for that reason. Alright, I think I need to add a bit more brown in here. Kind of lost some of my value. So I'm just going to come in here with some more brown and a little bit of this darker gray, just so the brown doesn't get too vibrant again. So kind of work back and forth between those two colors. And let's see, I think I want to add a bit more green in here, but not super bright green. So I think I'm going to play around with some of these desaturated greens that I have here. I'll just put some of these in here and see what I can create. I'm accentuating the circled shapes here and there. Let me just put one there. All right, I kind of like this greenish gray color here as well. All right, yeah, the background looks pretty messy right now, which is fine. We haven't even blended it out, so let's go ahead and blend this out now. Now there's a lot of powder on the paper, so I'm going to try to tap it in so I don't get it everywhere. But I'm going to just do really, really small circles and try to not get that dust to blow all over the place. I'd prefer it not to go everywhere. And if you tap it rather than rub it, you can actually press some of that excess dust into the paper. Now you can see I've kind of went inside my bunny, but that's no big deal because when I use the pencils, I can color right over top of it. It's not going to be an issue. Try to avoid it the best you can, but you don't have to be, you know, too critical about it. You can let some of that dust get in there. Oh goodness. Yeah, that's one of the other things about the UArt paper is that you're going to create a ton of dust. And sometimes dust can just get in the way and people want to, you know, try to brush it off, or they blow on it or something along those lines. One of the suggestions that I recommend is if you have like a vacuum cleaner, you might be able to use one of those handheld vacuum cleaners, or if you, usually I put my pastel work on a board that lets me lift it up off the table. I didn't do that today. I probably should have, but you can just tape it to a board and then tap the board down and have some of that excess dust come off. But you don't want to blow it. If you try to blow it, what's going to happen is one, you could spit on your artwork, and wherever you spit is going to be messed up. The other thing is that you're applying some pressure to the dust as you blow down on it, and it's going to stick to the paper rather than go off. So you're going to get a lot of dust that comes off of it, but you're going to get just as much dust kind of pressed into the paper that you can't, you know, you can fix, but it's kind of something you can avoid altogether if you just find a better solution to getting rid of the dust. As you're blending it out, you can always, you know, sweep the dust away best you can. You can see I'm sweeping it away for the most part. Now I'm just going through and getting that background nice and blurry. There we go. All right, now I'm going to switch to my white, and I'm going to add some more of those bokeh circles in. So I'm just going to come in here, lightly create some circles just in a few spots. And like I said, they don't have to be perfect circles because it's more important on how you blend it out rather than color it on there. So don't feel like you have to be super precise or anything. And one of the other things you want to be conscious of is when you're blending, don't like go crazy with the blending and try to move all this stuff around, because what's end up happening is you're going to blend all the colors together, and that's not exactly what you want. You want to maintain some control so that your brights stay bright and your darks stay dark, and they stay where they're supposed to be, rather than trying to blend it all out as one thing. All right. Think that's about, yeah, that's pretty good. Hello, Monica, Coffee Cat. Glad to see you here. Better late than never. All right, now I'm just going to, again, gently blend all this out. And I am barely even touching the paper. I'm trying to maintain the integrity of all the colors. So I don't want to push them around too much. I want to keep them where they are. Only need the tiniest bit of pressure. And I'm just going to ignore the dust completely. The dust, like I said, once I lift this up, the dust will go away and I won't have to worry about it anymore. But if I try to do something now, then it could make my background not as soft as I want. So I'm just going to ignore it and pretend that it's not there, which is usually what I recommend people do when they run into a dust problem. Let's see, did I miss anything in the comments? No, it doesn't seem like I did. I wasn't quite sure how long this tutorial was going to take, so I started it a little bit early than I initially planned. But looks like I'm going to be finishing the background in just a few minutes. All right, let's see. I need a bit of the dark gray. I need to darken up some of the spots back here. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of color. Just the tiniest bit. I don't want to create any more dust. So I'm really just barely going to add any color to any part. Just kind of just the smallest amount, and then I'll blend it out. All right, something like that. I think I need a little bit of a dark green. I think that's dark green. Yeah, that's the color I need right there. Yes, that is perfect color. Let's see, a little bit down here. I think the when it comes to doing, like, even if it's just a blurry background, not necessarily one with bokeh circles, but I think the issue that I often see the most is oversaturated colors or not enough value. Like there's some dark spots that often don't get darkened enough, and it's really, really important to get that depth in the background in order for the background to look good. So don't be afraid to add, you know, some of that dark gray, maybe even a touch of black. I might even add a bit of black here just to get some of those really dark values. Have I considered doing texture tutorials using different mediums? So I've done a few actually. I'm trying to think. So anytime, a lot of what I draw, you know, people or animals, texture is involved in every piece that I create, and I often stress different techniques for texture. For instance, over on Patreon, I did a tutorial on a bear drawing, and I showed a new technique where I used an etching tool to etch into the paper to create texture in order to create fur. And let's see, a few months ago I did a landscape tutorial. I did grass and I did rocks, and I did leaves of a tree with colored pencils. So I've done a lot, and texture texture is really, really important. So there's not really a tutorial that goes by that I don't in some way reference the technique that I am using to create the texture that you have to get in order for the picture to look good. So my Carbothellos look like this. It's not really a color band, but the whole stick is a color, and then it's just gray at the end. Hello, Noah. It's always nice to see you in the live stream. You've been regularly in the live stream for the past couple weeks, so I appreciate that. I'll always remember you because of the name game that you had us all playing, trying to guess what your real name was. The other thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning is, so I have this piece taped down, and I have it taped down with about a 1 centimeter border on all the sides, and that's usually the size of the border I like to give my drawings. For 2 reasons, I recommend. Well, there's probably more than 2. But the reason I recommend taping it down is, 1, you get a really nice clean border that looks really great when you're done and you peel the tape off. So it looks good. The second, more practical reason is that when you're done, you want to be able to pick your piece up without touching your pastels. And that edge gives you a nice edge to kind of hold on to with clean hands, and not have to touch your piece where you don't want to touch it. What else? That's, yeah, clean lines, and you can pick it up and stuff, and it looks nice. So those are pretty much my reasons for doing it. Okay, I'm gonna try to soften everything a little bit more. I think I might go in here with some more cream color and add just a bit more circular effect to my bokeh circles. Just kind of the outer edge where I want this to show up. Oh, okay. I will definitely check out your pastel piece. I haven't actually been on Instagram for a little while. I haven't seen any notifications. Sorry about that. I'll definitely check it out when I'm done, because I'll probably post this piece on Instagram when I finish it. So I'll check my notifications and check out the piece that you tagged me in. I always appreciate it when people share their work with me and they tag me and stuff like that. I've had a few people that's done my pastel course, quite a few people actually, that have messaged me and showed me their pieces that they did from the course, which just look fantastic. And I love getting them. I love getting the pieces that people send me. I'm definitely going to be sharing them on my YouTube channel once I get enough to make a video. But yeah, it's definitely been very, very nice to receive. A lot of people have been enjoying my pastel course. I have to mention, it wouldn't be very good of me not to mention my Intro to Pastel course while doing this tutorial, but the link for that course, if you're interested, is in the description. It's a 6-hour long Intro to Pastel tutorial. Takes you through 5 different projects from beginning to end, all the colors, the supply list, everything. If you're interested in that, definitely consider checking it out, because a lot of people have really, really enjoyed it and seem to have learned a lot from it. So yes, so enough about that. The people that have been completing the course have been sending me their work, and it's just been fantastic to see. Yeah, that's absolutely right, Wendy. So another reason to have the edges taped off is for matting it. When you do frame your pastel work, having a nice border there gives you plenty of room to put a mat when you frame it. All right. So I'm just going to blend out these last little bouquet circles, and then I'm going to go through one more time and try to just soften the background. I don't think I want to add too much, but one of the things, I want to make sure everything is softly blended. So I'm just going to kind of do this on my finger real quick, and then just come in here and blend it out. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do for this last little bit of blending is, instead of really small circles, I'm going to do like larger circles about this size and layer them on top of each other. So that's what I'm going to kind of do here, and that's going to give the rest of this blend more of a bouquet blend. So I'm going to try to make everything look like circles. Like here in the shadow, I'm just going to create kind of a circle here, and then another circle. And this is just going to give everything that kind of circled layer blended effect. You don't have to do the same size circles. In fact, I recommend you doing a variety of sizes. All right. There we go. Yeah. Now if I were to get rid of this dust somehow, And I'm just going to blow it a little bit from the distance. Alright, so I got rid of most of the dust. I'm not going to blow really hard or anything for the reasons that I've stated before. But let's go ahead and start on our bubble here. And to do that, I'm going to, let's see here. I think what I'll do is start with just a light color, so I can get that circle again. I'm going to just sketch it in. Try to follow the line where I had originally drew. I can still kind of see it, so I'm just going to sketch this in a little bit. Now, one of the things you can do is you can use a piece of interlacing paper or glassine paper, whatever you want to call it, and lay this down. However, before you do that, you want to make sure you don't have any dust here, and I obviously have a lot of dust, so I can't use that paper right now. I'd have to get rid of the dust, because if you lay that on top of the dust and then you start, pressing down with your hand, you're just going to press that right into your paper, so be careful with that. I don't have, this isn't that big, and I don't have a problem drawing with my hand lifted off the table. Another thing that you can do if you can't lay your hand down is you can lay your other arm across and lay this hand on top of it. You can do that. You can use a board. There's little tools for that oil painters use a lot to keep their hand off the canvas. I forget the name of them, but they exist. All right, now I'm going to do this bubble here. Try to get the best circle that I can. There we go. Alright, blew some of that excess dust off a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to go in with some bright green here and just start coloring in the reflection of everything. Start with some of this bright green. Bubbles have all kinds of fun colors in them, so go crazy with the bubble. You can use all kinds of just the brightest colors you can grab. One of the things that I like about the harder pencils is that they're not going to blend as much, which is nice for this kind of detail. So, yeah. Oh, a maul. That's what it's called. Okay, so the tool, the wooden stick thing to lay your hand on is called a maul. Thank you, Wendy. Let's see here. Let's grab some of this bright blue, and I'm just gonna kind of throw a bunch of this color down, and then I'll work out some of the details once I get some layers of color on this bubble here. Yeah, this blue here is like perfect. This is like a blue that's made for bubbles. This should be called bubble blue, because it's the ideal blue color for that kind of oily reflection. Let's see, we got some blues in here now, some darker blues. So let me grab some of this darker blue. Excuse me. Sometimes that dust, I can feel the dust in the air sometimes, and makes me cough. That's probably not too healthy. But I don't work with pastels enough, I don't think, to concern myself. All right. The best part about pastels is that you can add dark colors and then add the lighter colors right over top of it, and it just works so nice. One of my favorite things about working with pastels is just the freedom to work in both directions, going dark and light. That is my favorite thing about them. I should probably get one of those cloth masks now that you mentioned it, Monica. But I think that it would probably make it kind of hard to hear me. I mean, I'm already very soft spoken, so if I were to put something over my mouth, you'd probably wouldn't be able to hear me or understand me very well. I try to speak kind of as loud as I'm comfortable speaking. And then also I try to be more articulate and say my words clearly. So hopefully I do okay in that department. But I already have the volume boosted on my microphone so that I don't have to scream at it. All right, there's not really purple usually, but I'm gonna add some purple. I'm just gonna add some of this purple in here a little bit, just to give it some more variation in the blues. All right, let's see here. I kind of like this fuchsia color. I'm almost going just down the line of colors. Oh yeah, this fuchsia color really complements some of the greens and stuff. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this in there. Yeah, okay, not too much. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the black. I'll add, you can see, I kind of, so with my black, I was using the pencil sharpener that comes with the Carbothello set, and it kept breaking the black. It was very frustrating. So at this point, I don't have a pencil sharpener that works with my Carbothellos, and I sharpen it with a knife instead, and I like the tips that I can get. Yes, I do have a lavalier microphone. However, I don't have one that works, or one that I think works with my live streams. So I use my Blue Yeti microphone. It also, yeah, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable using a lavalier microphone, because in some cases I've had to get up and in the middle of a live stream, if I were to get up and forget, I would hate to like yank that out of my computer or wherever I would have to plug it in. So I probably won't use a lav microphone, but I use them for when I make other videos. All right, so I'm going to add a bit more detail into this bubble. Yeah, I do need a hand crank, a hand crank sharpener. I've been meaning to buy one. I've looked at them online, but I've never like committed to buying them. I honestly, I don't really know. Actually, no. The reason I haven't quite committed to purchasing one is because I wanted to wait until I needed more art supplies, and I think I need to order some more paper, which gives me a good excuse to go ahead and commit to buying a better pencil sharpener. Alright, switching from the black now, I'm going to grab this yellow. Oh wait, no, I'm going to grab a more bright yellow. And go in here with my yellow now. Yes, and let's see, I'm going to use the white. Come in here a little bit with the white. There we go, and let's see, I'm missing something. I need some green. I need this green here. Let me come over this black with this green now. Bring some saturation back into those dark shadowed areas of the bubble here, so it's not so boring looking. I love the way these lay on top of each other. It's so great. Alright, I'm going to grab this kind of greenish yellow. Okay, that's not enough green. I need some more green here. Ah, that's better. Alright, let's see. I need some more of blue, but I need, oh, here we go. This is the blue I'm looking for. You come in here and add some sky reflection. So I need more of a natural blue. Let's come in here a little bit like this. And over here. And over here. All right. Coming together. I think it's starting to look like a bubble now. There we go. And yeah. All right, so black. I think I'm going to give my black a little bit of a sharpen. I want a really fine tip for that last kind of black detail. All right, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. It's not really, it's kind of hanging on by a thread. Do I need pastel pencils to do your online course? So Tracy, you barely need them. So the only pastel pencils that I use on my course is the 12 pack of the Carbothello pencils, and I think throughout the course I only use them about 3 times. So I barely use them. So you can totally do the entire course without the pencils. You really can. But the 12 pack of the Carbothello pencils are only about $17 or $18, somewhere around that. They're very cheap and they're very high quality. So there's really no reason not to have them, even if you decide to do the course without having the pencils. But yeah, they're used in the course, but very, very rarely. I need to get rid of some of this dust, so I'm going to blow it again. There we go. All right, I think what I might do is I need a dark circle around this, so I think I'm just going to lay this here again. Try to find my circle. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to risk it. I'm risking it. I don't recommend this. I would prefer to have a circle that I can trace on the inside and not the outside. But I'm breaking my rules here. Breaking my rules. And breaking my pencil. That's fantastic. Okay, well, I'm not going to use that pencil anymore. I'm going to switch back to the white. And add some of these highlights into the bubble. Get some of the brightest highlights in here. There's kind of this highlight coming up here. And then there's a few highlights down here. Yeah, these pencils tend to make a lot of noise when you draw with them. And let's see, a little bit of a highlight over here. And there we go. And then in here, this is a bit too dark, so I gotta add some highlight. There we go. I think that's better. And then missing one here. And there's a few. I'm just going to make kind of dots. That's pretty good. I think I need some blue. Let me grab a little bit of this bright blue. I like this bright blue. I haven't used any of this yet, so I'm just going to come in here and kind of do a bit of final touches to the bubble. I think it looks pretty bubbly, don't you think it looks kind of bubbly? When coming up with tutorials, do I start with technique you want to teach or the piece you want to do with the technique secondary? I think it's kind of a combination of two things. So a few days ago I was asked if I was going to do anything a little bit more complicated with pastels because I've been doing mostly kind of simple landscapes. And so I've actually had this piece planned for about a month and a half. But I was working on a pastel course, so I never actually got around to doing this until today. But for the techniques, I wanted to cover fur, and I wanted to cover blurry background, and a little bit of layering technique, which I do cover in the landscape tutorials, but this was something different that I haven't done before with pastels on my channel. I'm doing an animal, I'm doing a bubble. I was originally going to do a butterfly, but I just decided, I went with a bubble because I thought it was really cool looking. Yeah, so sometimes it's secondary, sometimes the techniques, I choose the piece purely on the technique. Do I have any idea when my interview with the podcast? So the only thing I know about the Color Pencil podcast is that it's going to be out in about a week or two. I wasn't given an exact date, but I promise that as soon as it comes out, I will let everybody know that you won't miss it. Don't worry. I'll try to make sure that I share that information as soon as I have it. But yeah, I'm very excited about the podcast as well. It was a lot of fun. I hope that in the future I can actually do it again because it was so much fun. So, all right, I think that's pretty good for the bubble. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to add. I might try to blend out some of this. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't normally blend with the stump because I feel like it just ruins everything. But in the case of this bubble, I feel like I have a bit of room for error. There we go. All right, now moving on from the bubble, let's go ahead and jump right into this rabbit here. Try to get rid of some of that. All right, so I'm going to switch to this light gray here, kind of sketch my rabbit back out. Because I kind of covered some of it. So his head was like here. His ear, let's see if I can, wait, what did I miss? Okay, his ear is coming here like this. And his other ear wraps up behind him like that. There we go. That's better. There's the rabbit. Okay, so I'm going to start off by sharpening my black pencil since it's broken. Try not to break it this time. All right. I have a little bit of a tip on there. Let me use my knife now. Apologize for this. All right, I have black again. So I'm going to draw in the eye here. And I'm going to try to cover, I'm going to try to keep from touching the highlights. It's tough with this kind of small drawing. There's not a whole lot of space in here. There's the eyeball. Let me grab white really quick and add nice sparkly highlight there and there. And then there should be a little bit of green, a little bit of brown in the eye reflecting. You don't want to make it pure black, otherwise it's not going to look like an eyeball. It's going to look just kind of weird. So I'm going to add some brown and some green in there just to give it some dimension. Maybe even a little bit of blue at the top. So grab this kind of desaturated light blue. There we go. That's how you do an eye. Some darker blue here. And switch back to black one last time for the center spot There we go. That's that. Then I'm going to take kind of a brownish color, and I'm going to go around the eye, and this is going to be kind of the skin part. Hold on, let me try to catch up with the live chat here. Hello, Renee. Glad you can make it to the live stream. You have not used the pan pastels for a while. Do you not like them? The truth is, I do like them. The pan pastels are a bit, they're a bit more time consuming in my opinion as far as like getting this stuff out. And I haven't been working on anything large enough to really justify using them. However, I see them in there. I wish that I had more time to do pastel stuff, but I really haven't had as much time as I'd like to work with pastels and to use the pan pastels, because they were such a lovely gift, and every time I see them I kind of like wish I could just pull them out and use them. But I've been using colored pencils a lot, and when I'm not using colored pencils, I'm planning the next time I use colored pencils. So yeah, hopefully soon I will get to use the pan pastels again. I sure hope so, because I sure miss using them. But I used them that one time, and I just haven't had a second chance to really incorporate them into the work that I've been doing. It's been tough. All right, let's see here. So a majority of this bunny is kind of this grayish color, but before I do that, it's got a little nose here, so I'm going to just draw in this little nose. Just like this, kind of teeny tiny, and then it has its little mouth coming like this and down like this. Give it a little smile, and that's about it for. I think it comes down a little bit farther. It's hard to get these shapes in there. Alright, so I'm going to grab this light gray. A majority of this bunny is just light gray, so I'm actually just going to kind of color it in and get the final shape right before going over it with some lighter. Actually, I think I might be using the wrong color. That gray is a bit too dark. Yeah, this is more the color I'm looking for here. So I'm working around that eye, trying to sharpen up all those details there. There we go. Yeah, the pan pastels, they are really good for, you know, building those backgrounds, filling in a lot of space, and yeah, they work really well. It's just between using the sticks and using these pencils, it's like one more thing I have to have on my table. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to finally get into doing another live stream pastel piece, because it's been a while since I've done something like this. And so I'm just glad to kind of have some time to do that. And hopefully in the future I'll be able to incorporate some of the pan pastels into the tutorial as well. So I'm just filling all of this in with gray. And then I'll use my other colors to get that fur texture and add in the rest of the detail. But because you can layer so well with these, I'm kind of just, you know, focusing on getting the base colors first. There. I'm going to try to blend it out, see what that, with this blending stump. Get rid of some of that excess dust as well. There we go. All right. Nice gray bunny. Okay, so we have some brown here. Let me grab some brown. This might be too light. Let me see here. No, that's pretty good. Right here in the ear, there's some brown coming in. There's some kind of brown coming underneath the chin. And a little bit of brown coming here. Alright, some darker gray now. Working the shadows a bit. The ears over here. Sorry, I feel like the chat's going by real quickly. I missed some of it. Hopefully I didn't miss any questions. If you guys have any questions, make sure you do the do that little highlight so I see it, because it's hard to see otherwise. But hopefully I didn't miss anybody's question. All right, so there's quite a bit of gray here and underneath this part of the ear. And then the fur kind of wraps around where the head is, right there. Gray over by the mouth and underneath, nicely shaded right here. Top of the nose. There's so much freedom working with this medium. You can kind of just, you know, block in your most general shapes and then work right over top of it, so it's super easy. Oh yes, is color shapers? Not quite sure what those are. Those aren't the sponges that people use to blend out pastels, is it? Sounds like it could be something like that, but I don't know. Alright, so we got our little bunny there. Let me, let's see here. I think I need to add some green to him, reflecting the environment. So I'm going to add some green into his fur a little bit. Not too much, but in some of the areas he has quite a bit of green, kind of reflecting the grass and all that fun stuff. Whoa. All right. There we go. Not too much green, but enough to put them into the scenery. Let's see here. I think white. Yes, I'll work with white now and see what else we can do to them. All right. Now let's work on the highlights. Start adding in the fur texture, just really short pencil strokes. All right. Sorry, you even highlighted my name and I missed it. Yes, pastels are definitely forgiving. They are like silicone brushes. Oh yeah, I have some of those, but I don't like to use them. Yeah, I tried some of them, and I just don't get the kind of blending that I like with them. I don't know if I need a moderator quite yet, but I appreciate the compliment. The idea that my chat's getting too busy. It's not that the chat's getting too busy, it's that I am getting too busy trying to finish this piece. I don't even know how to set up a chat moderator. That's how inexperienced I am with having large amounts of people in my chat. I never had to look up how to do that. So with this white, just paying attention to the direction that I'm drawing and then just creating some layers. This won't be the last layer for obvious reasons, because this rabbit's going to take much more layering to get a realistic effect. But this is certainly the beginning. There's quite a bit of gray that remains in his fur, so we'll go back and forth with some of this white and some of the gray just to get our values correct and get the shape of everything correct. In order to keep my pencil sharper longer, I continuously rotate it, so it's always a good technique to learn is to draw while rotating your pencil. Oh yes, so the paper that I'm using is the UArt 800 sanded paper. Thanks for asking. I mentioned it in the beginning of the live stream, but I understand that not everybody was here then. So thank you for asking. Just in case anybody else was wondering. Oh, thank you, Monica. I appreciate you saying that. I like to think that I'm getting more popular. No matter how much more subscribers I get, I'll never forget the people that were here in the beginning. I always try my best to show appreciation to those that, follow me when very few others are. And I always appreciate your support, Monica. See, one thing about this, like, you might notice that the bunny is starting to come to life a little bit. And what really makes it start to happen quickly is choosing the right colors. That's one of the most important things when you're creating any art, is the color choice. If you're using the wrong colors, it's just not going to look right. So you gotta take your time to choose the right colors. And our eyes tend to create a lot of different optical illusions when it comes to colors. Colors look differently based on what other colors surround them. When you look at this rabbit, once it's finished, it's going to look like it's all white. But the truth is, you saw me put a bunch of gray. There's some green in there. There's even a bit of blue. So you just gotta take your time and make sure you're not being tricked by your eyes when you're choosing your colors. Your drawings are amazing. I myself am drawing anime manga stuff, but you're doing this amazing. Thank you very much, Firebright. I also do some manga anime type drawings. I even have a few tutorials on how to do them. Thank you for coming by the live stream and complimenting my artwork. Oh, I see. Okay, so the color shapers, you can use it to press in the color into the paper rather than for blending. I see. Yeah, I only tried them a couple times and I was like, yeah, I don't like this, and then I just when it comes to blending, I always like my my finger above all else, which I've mentioned a few times. I definitely prefer blending with my finger, but yeah, I'm always open to trying new tools and new ways of blending. Get all this fur drawn in, and we're almost done. Let's see, only about an hour and a half or so live streaming, so not too bad, in my opinion, to get this picture done in about 2 hours. I'd say if I can get this rabbit done in the next 15 minutes, I think that I can finish this before 2 hours. So that's not too bad. Let's see, did I miss anything else? This is pastel paper. What is market? I'm not sure I understand that question. Yes, it's the UR800 paper, if that is your question. Thank you again, Firebright. I appreciate that you enjoy my voice. Now go to sleep. Thank you again, Monica. Always appreciate your compliments and your lovely comments that you always leave on my videos. I love it when I wake up in the morning, I have a notification. It says that you left a comment on one of my videos, because I always enjoy reading your comments. You have lovely comments. Yes, pastels are quite quick. I need to get my lighter gray and my darker gray really sharp for these final details when I finish off the white. And then again, I'll have to get my white pencil really sharp for the last layer using the white, because I'll most likely finish off the fur of this rabbit with the white, because white is such a dominating color for this fur. I mean, the rabbit is white. I mean, the only reason it's not pure white is because things reflect off the fur, it has shadows and all that stuff. But it is a very white rabbit. Alright, so let's switch to a gray. Let's see, what gray do I want to use? I kind of like this gray, and it's almost sharp, so let me just get the tip really pointy. Okay, that's about as good as I'm gonna get it, so let's just go in here. Might even be able to use my glassine paper like right in this area here. So I'm gonna come in here, try to get some of these fine details. This is the process where things slow down. Slow down, take your time with this part in order to get it to look right. Add that last bit of detail to attention, or attention to detail. I said that backwards. And it will take your drawing from looking good to looking great. A lot of these little details here, you're most likely not really going to be able to see all that well on camera, but in real life it'll just make the drawing look much better. Very small, subtle indications of fur. Sorry, I'm trying to read some of the comments. Oh yes, I agree. The Carbothellos, they have a really good gray. Like, they have warm and cool grays, and they have a lot of great tones in the full set. They're just fantastic pastel pencils. Like, no doubt about it, they're the best. What is my favorite part of the process? Layout, base layers, detailing, or the relief when you're done? Let's see. I would say the details might be my favorite part because even before I get to like the really fine details, I can usually get a drawing looking pretty realistic. And then my favorite part, like my favorite part is probably adding the final highlights. Not necessarily with pastels, because sometimes, you know, I put the highlights in the pastels, like for instance the bubble. I'm not going to get those highlights any brighter. But for like working with colored pencils, I love the part where I, you know, take some of the the brush up or the touch up texture in titanium white, take some of that and do some last little bit of highlighting, like in an eye or something along those lines. I really enjoy that part of the drawing process. And but I also like to plan a lot. A lot of my artwork is very thought out and planned, and that way I don't have to struggle at any point. I kind of know what I'm doing from beginning to end, and sometimes the planning part can be fun, like anticipation to begin, or just really like the overall idea of the whatever piece I'm working with. So I kind of have this goofy looking chin going on right here. I need to fix this. My rabbit's head looks all weird. I need to fix that. There we go. That's better. But yeah, that's kind of like some of my favorite parts of the drawing process. If I'm working on a really big piece, I kind of don't like the first initial layering of the process. That part can kind of get irritating to me, especially when working with colored pencils, because sometimes the bigger pieces with colored pencils, they can really just drive you nuts because it takes so long. Okay, Firebright, have a lovely day. Thanks for coming by. So here you see me tapping on the fur a little bit, and that's just to soften some of the detail because I want the focus to be on the bubble and the bunny's face, not necessarily the body. I don't need to put a whole lot of effort into that part. Where'd my white go? Okay, here it is. I need to sharpen my white and then do some of the last little bit of detailing. I really wish I had a better pencil sharpener, though I think that it'd probably make quite a bit of noise sharpening with one of those crank pencil sharpeners. But at least I'd be able to get the pencils really sharp without breaking. All right, let's see here. Get some of these last little details on the face. And on the back over here. This part here is a bit too gray. And we're almost done. Almost done with our bunny. We're almost done with this pastel piece. Only got the grass left, and that shouldn't take too long. That's going to be the easiest part of this whole process. Make the fur a little bit fluffier over on the edges here. Give it a little bit of texture, not just some flat line. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like a little bit of highlight on the ear right there, over here as well. Yes, just like that. And let's see if I can get, I'm gonna just sharpen that edge and then create some whiskers. And actually the whiskers on the other side are black, but I need a little bit more of a mouth right there and right there. Yeah, that's better. Now I'm going to try to not mess these whiskers up. Let me see here. There's one that's messed up. There, that's better. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can work with that. And there's a few little details in there with the black. And over here, this ear needs to be a bit darker. Oh, sorry, I'm missing the chat again. I keep forgetting. People are watching me draw. I keep forgetting and missing the chat. Yeah, I need to get a sharpener. The Angel 5 Royal Crank Sharpener. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, the pastel pencils, that's one of the worst things about them is sharpening them. Like, they are just such a pain sometimes. Even if you're really delicate, you know, you can keep breaking it and all that nonsense. Because I just broke my white sharpening it with a knife, and that almost never happens. Alright, get some of these shadows here just a bit darker. The more value I have in my little bunny here, a bit better it's gonna look. Make the fur stand out a bit more. There we go. Behind the eye right here, it's a bit darker. There we go. I think that's pretty good for the bunny. I'm not going for like super hyper realism, because if I was, I wouldn't be drawing this bunny smaller than the size of my fist. So if you want super realism, you want to add more detail to your bunny, then you need to go larger. No doubt about it, you need to go larger. All right, let's get in here with some grass. Now, like I said, this is going to be super easy. And I think I'm not going to use pencils right now. I think what I'm going to do is actually use a bit of my blocks. And I'm just going to come in here and green, add some green. A few different shades of green. This green that I used quite a bit of in the beginning. I'm just scribbling to cover up this paper. There we go. And, whoa, some of this here. and some of this. Yeah, and I'm just going to blend it vertically like this. And down here it's going to be kind of blurry. Alright, that's a bit too saturated, so I'm going to come back again. I'm going to come back again with this kind of desaturated green. Yeah, kind of this grayish brown. Yeah, that's good. And I'm doing this vertically because that's just going to help with the overall texture of the grass. There we go. And now I'm going to come in with some of this green here, and I'm just going to kind of real risky. I'm just going to scribble in some grass blades. You don't want to stay uniform, you want to be real loose. Now I'm not going to come up too high on the rabbit, but I'm going to definitely go right over top of the rabbit a little bit. There we go. Now I need a darker green, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to try this color. Let's see what this looks like. No, that's not going to work. Let's try this color. This green looks like it could be a bit too bright, so be careful with this. Yeah, this is good. Not too bad. I'm just using the corner, not pressing at all. I want to use real light pressure. Let's see, I need some darker green. Let's go with this. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's perfect right there. That is the color. It's going to be kind of the shadow. And then I need some highlight. So I need a bit of highlight in the grass. So I'm going to grab this really bright green. Let me see what this looks like first off. Let's see. Yeah, that will work. That'll work. I'm just going to come in here, add not a whole lot, but just a few of the tips of the grass coming up with some highlights. Just not too much though, because this color is a bit strong. And then a little bit of this cream color, I think. Yeah, it's kind of an ivory. It's kind of like an ivory color, but over top of the green, it doesn't get too bright. All right, now what we're going to do is just blend this really lightly by pulling it down. And then I worked about here down, and then about halfway up that, I'm going to press a little bit harder and pull it down. And I'm going to do it one more time, horizontally, down at the bottom. A little bit. Pull it down again. This is going to help create that depth of field look, where it starts to get out of focus in the front here. And I think I'm going to call it done. Let me clean my hands really quick. So I'm going to untape this, and we're going to get rid of all this dust, and you're going to get to see the final piece. Let me Let me try to clean up some of this excess dust a little bit before I go untaping everything. That way it's not too messy. Alright, let's just peel this tape off real gently like. Now I'm pulling away from my drawing to get that dust off of it so it doesn't fall on there. There we go. Just lay that tape there. Clean my hands one more time. Alright. Let me get this piece here first. So I hope everybody that stayed and watched enjoyed the live stream. It actually didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to take me a bit longer today, but fortunately it only took about 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours maybe. And I think it came out pretty good. I like the colors. I think the colors came out nice. So hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. I certainly enjoyed hanging out with everybody because I always enjoy hanging out with all these lovely people that enjoy my work. Always appreciate you guys, I really do. Alright, now clean my fingers one last time. Alright, let's get this last piece of tape off here. And get rid of some of this gross dust. Come on, tape. Come on. There we go. Alright, let's get rid of some of this. Yeah. Alright, let me just clear off this table here real quick so I can lay this down without getting a bunch of dust all over it. All right, so there we have it. It's a little bunny, a bubble, some grass. Probably not the most realistic grass. I probably could have done more with the grass, but it was a bit dusty and I couldn't quite see everything, but I'm happy with it. I could go through with some pencils and probably add some more greens or something like that. Maybe a few more blades of grass with a few different colors of green. So feel free to add as much or as little as grass as you want. Maybe add some flowers or something like that. Maybe add like a dandelion. Actually, maybe, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just add a little dandelion in here. So I'm just gonna add a little flower here. Not a whole lot of detail. Maybe one over here. And shade underneath of it. Give it some little things. There we go. Little dandelion. Not a whole lot of detail in it, but let's get, there we go. Alright. So there it is. Hopefully everybody had fun with the live stream. I certainly did. I hope you liked the final piece. I'll be sharing it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, so if you want a closer look of it, you can go over there and check it out. But again, thank you so much for coming by the live stream. If you want to support my channel, you can certainly, you can donate on PayPal. I have a link to that in the description. Or if you want to learn more about pastels, I do have an Intro to Pastel course link that goes to my website. And it's a 6-hour long course. It's only $25, so I think it's a pretty good deal. Or you can go over to my Patreon page and support me there. Every Friday I do live stream tutorials in colored pencils based on suggestions. that my Patreon supporters give me. So this week I am going to be working on a portrait live stream in colored pencils over on Patreon. I have over 100 hours of tutorials available to you on Patreon. So for just $5 a month, you get access to all of that, which is also a pretty sweet deal, I think. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you once again, and hopefully I will see you next time. I will be live streaming again on YouTube on Monday, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.